Nicky, it's great to have you with us. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Oh, thank you so much, Steve. It's great to be with you.
Now, this is your first time in Australia?
Not our first time in Australia. We've been
first time at the conference.
First time at the Hillsong conference, yeah.
How are you finding it?
We are absolutely, I mean, there just aren't words to describe it. It is so amazing. We've had 3 days of just the love, the welcome, but also the inspiration. There is so much. I don't think I've ever had 3 days in which I've learned so much or been inspired so much and seen a model that is so the thing that we want to do. And so that we were leaving here thinking we've got to have a revolution when we get home. This is amazing.
That's terrific.
Phantasmagorical is how somebody, because I said at the conference I don't have a word for it, and they suggested phantasmagorical, which doesn't do it, but it's better than any other word.
We can go with that word. That's a good word. I think you couldn't top that one if you tried. Now, Nicky, people know you for your work at the Church of Holy Trinity Brompton back in London, but more so for the Alpha course. Take us back to how that was birthed and how it started. Today it's become a worldwide phenomenon, but take us back to how it was started.
Well, I didn't start it. It was started by someone called Charles Marnham and his wife Tricia. She came up with the name Alpha. It was 6 people, a 6-week course for new Christians, and it grew. And other people added a weekend, turned it into a 10-week course, which is what it is today, plus a weekend on the personal work of the Holy Spirit. And then it grew more. And then Nicky and Silla Lee ran it for about 5 years, and it grew more. And then I took it on in October 1990. And what I found was we were getting a whole lot of people from outside of the church coming, people who wouldn't call themselves Christians. So we decided to change the course and aim it for people outside of the church. And at that point, it just exploded. It grew to now we have sometimes up to 1,000 people coming on our course. We run it 3 times a year. And other churches started to run it, and now there are 55,000 churches around the world registered as running it, and 16.5 million people have done the course, and it's in over 100 languages. So we've just watched in astonishment this explosion around the world.
So it really took a shift from being a course for Christians to a course for seekers or for non-Christians.
Yes, that was, I think, probably the big shift, because certainly in the UK there are many more people outside the church than there are inside the church, and it was at that point it really took off and it grew, and people felt confident to bring their friends because they had an experience. It's very low-key, relaxed, unthreatening, unpressurized, based on respect for people. And people who are not Christians, who will have these questions. What's the point of life? What happens when I die? Is forgiveness possible? But they don't have a context where they can discuss that. If you go to a football match and you say, what do you think the meaning of life is? People just think you're crazy. You go to a pub, you say, what do you think the point of all this is? So, no. But here's a context where they could ask those questions with other people who are not Christians there. No one's going to correct them. No one's going to preach at them. No one's going to laugh at them. They're just going to listen to them. And they talk to each other. It's not the leaders preaching at the guests. It's the guests talking to each other. And in that process, because of course they hear a talk, they hear, as they come back, they hear, who's Jesus? Why did he die? Faith, the Bible, prayer, the church. And this acts as a process. And we just found so many of them were coming to faith in Jesus. And not only that, they were so excited, they were bringing their friends on the next course. So it was kind of like a snowball. Each course was growing. More and more people were coming to faith. And then they were telling their stories, and other people were coming. It was friends bringing friends. And that's how it is. It continues to be friends bringing friends. Mainly young people. 75% are aged between 18 and 35.
Is that right?
Average age is 27.
Wow.
It's incredible.
So tell us a bit about you, because you didn't grow up in the church, did you?
No, I was brought up, well, I wasn't brought up as an atheist, but my father was an atheist.
Right.
And my mother was not a churchgoer. And I sort of became an atheist. They didn't sort of teach me to be an atheist at all, far from it. But it's just, we were not a church-going family. I didn't have a Christian background at all. So I came to faith in my first year at university through a friend. Not that he was trying to lead me to faith, it's just that he and his wife, Nicky and Silla Lee, who run the marriage course now, they came to faith, and I wanted to really help them. So that was why I read the New Testament, and in reading the New Testament, I came to faith myself.
Wow, and you were studying law? Was that, or you went to be a barrister?
I went on to study law, and then I practiced as a barrister for a number of years, yes.
And decided that was enough?
No, I love being a barrister, and if I ever went did anything other than what I'm doing at the moment, I would want to be a barrister because I love my job. It's a fantastically exciting life being a barrister. But I had a real passion to communicate faith in Jesus to people outside of the church, and so I didn't know which to do because I love
It's kind of similarities, fighting for truth.
It was good training. In a way, it was good training because you have to present a case. I'm quite a shy person. I'm an introvert, and it was really hard for me to get up in court and present a case because I'm not a natural sort of speaker. So I had to learn how to present a case, and I also you have to give people advice. And so that's almost like sort of counselling, pastoral. And then you have to write opinions. And so that's very good for preparation for writing books. So in a way, it was extraordinary training for what I'm doing now.
That's terrific. Well, let's dig a little deeper. Let's find out the real Nicky Gumbel. We want to ask you a few questions, random, just to find out a bit about you. Firstly, how do you take your coffee?
How do I take my coffee? I take it early in the morning. Very strong, and I only have 1 cup a day. I try only to have 1 cup a day, but that 1 cup is pretty powerful.
Do you have milk in it?
I have milk, yeah.
That's good.
And I've given up decaf. I think decaf's not. I used to drink a lot of decaffeinated coffee. It doesn't do anything for you really.
No.
So I just have 1 really powerful cup of coffee.
That's good.
Speaking of mornings, what's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning?
Well, I did this thing, the 1 Year Bible, which Sandy Miller, who was the vicar of HTB, gave me a Bible 20 years ago, and it has like a psalm, a proverb, a bit of the New Testament, a bit of the Old Testament. And I've been doing it for 20 years, and 2.5 years ago, I started emailing the congregation with my thoughts from the passage each day. And my wife Pippa adds a bit at the end, which says Pippa adds. And I've been doing it now for 2.5 years, and it's grown. More and more people are getting this email. And most of them just scroll down and read the Pippa ads at the bottom. Because I write mine sort of long and very boring, and at the end she just writes, haven't got time to do it, I'm washing my hair or something. Or she writes actually she usually writes a very, very succinct, very powerful little thought at the end, so they all scroll down and just read her bit.
All right, tell us, have you had any embarrassing stage moments?
Any embarrassing
stage moments?
How long have you got?
Just one.
I've had lots of embarrassing. I'm not very good at. I find preaching quite a daunting task. And
most preachers do, I think.
It's this kind of thing. I don't do very much preaching now in our church. I get all the younger guys to do it. I've just come actually from doing a talk here, and I got up and I said I was going to give 6 points on evangelization, and I started the introduction, and I was just about to start my first point when my wife and Tom, who's been looking after me here, they jumped up and said, Time's up. I hadn't even gone on to my first point.
So you're a digresser.
Well, I'm not normally, but I think I was just enjoying. You have such a great crowd here. They're so responsive. I was so enjoying having fun, chatting, banter that I forgot that the time had gone. But
well, I'm sure everyone here has enjoyed having you here.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for joining us this morning as well.
We loved it, every moment.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you very much indeed.